Jordan Lee, Jordan Lee, Jordan Lee, Jordan Lee. Hello, everybody. Greg Underdahl here, live. Not live, actually. This is recorded, but on my phone, almost live, from my hotel room in Celebration, Florida. I am a cameraman. You guys already know this, but if you don't, I'm a cameraman for Major League Fishing. My name is Greg Underdahl. Welcome to Angling Uploaded. I'm going to do a recap of this last day of the Bass Pro Tour in Kissimmee, Florida. Kissimmee, I guess that's where the tournament, Lake Toho, Kissimmee, come on. The championship day, big day. Jordan Lee wins. Congratulations to Jordan Lee. Just a crazy, amazing fisherman, young fisherman. I do want to actually, I'll try to remember this. Don't let me forget. I want to talk about how laid back it seems the best fishermen are. Don't let me forget. I don't have it in my notes, but that's something I really want to touch upon. But yeah, I'll do a recap of my day today. I was paired up with Brian Thrift. So I was in the boat with Brian Thrift all day today. And I'll just kind of go through. I'm looking at my notes here. You'll see me kind of glancing over. That's what I'm doing if you haven't seen one of these videos before. So Brian Thrift is one of the top bass fishermen in the world right now. I think he's ranked in the top 5. I mean, he's way up there. Just kind of set the FLW Tour on fire. Maybe the best FLW Tour angler. And now he's over at Major League Fishing. And I can, I've worked with him a few times, and I can see why he's so good. The first thing that you'll notice when you get in the boat with Brian is how meticulous he is. I believe he suffers from some OCD, which I can relate to. I have OCD. Probably you could consider it a mild case of OCD. I don't really know where it stems from. I have a few theories, but I know where my OCD comes from. Brian's, it has been working for him because his record shows how well he's done with the OCD, because he has his rods laid out perfectly. He has 6 rods on either side of him, so when he's fishing, I don't know if I've ever seen the times that I've worked with him, and admittedly I've not worked with Brian a lot. But the times that I've worked with him, I've never seen him get into his rod box in the boat to get a rod out. All of his rods are perfectly placed next to him. He's got 6 rods on one side, 6 rods on the other, maybe a little bit more, maybe 7 and 7. So if my math is correct, that's 14 rods on the deck. And fantastic angler. What's surprising about Brian, I think, is it's not surprising, actually. I know better. I've been filming some of the best bass fishermen, just in general, the best fishermen in the world. But in regards to bass fishermen, the best bass fishermen that I've seen, tournament fishermen, are laid back. Excuse me while I have a sip of this. See, on the final day, I drink something a little bit stronger than Coca-Cola. So here's a Yingling, my college beer, actually. That tastes really, really good. Okay. So he's basically, what was I talking about? He's super meticulous, OCD. Oh, he's laid back. So, the best fishermen, in my experience, don't get bent out of shape. They're not wound up. That doesn't mean that they don't, that they aren't efficient. Brian Thrift is incredibly efficient, but he doesn't. He's not an anxious. He's not a ball of anxiety out on the water. He just seems to have a calm about him. Jordan Lee, I've filmed a lot with Jordan Lee now. Jordan Lee's the same way. You see him on the live show, and you see it. He's just laid back. He's relaxed, and it's the ones that the anglers that get spun out. You can see their record. They just don't do very well. They don't handle the pressure very well. the guys that don't spin out, that just continue to make casts, that aren't balls of just anxious energy, that if they get a fish on, it's really obvious to me that nothing comes of being a stressed out maniac, just in general. But in this case, in fishing, I'm just telling you, the best fishermen, and specifically tournament fishermen, are relaxed, and Bryan Thrift is definitely in that category. He was super relaxed all day, and had a great attitude. And I'll go over some of he's a very likable person, and I'll tell you I'll give you an example of that here shortly. So what he was doing today is, let's see, he was offshore all day, and he was running just isolated, like, offshore grass patches. He told me that he doesn't like fishing in general. He doesn't like fishing big, expansive grass flats. He likes to find little patches of isolated grass, or brush piles offshore, less pressure, and it's more like, if you can find something in an isolated piece of cover, you kind of know that because there's nothing else around it, there's going to be fish there. And that's what he was doing all day. And he ended up in second place. I mean, he was quite a ways behind Jordan, but Jordan just had a phenomenal day. So sometimes, no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to win. But heck, Brian placed second. So, I mean, he's done very, very well on the Bass Pro Tour so far. So a second place finish is darn good. But he was one of the things, like, examples of him being laid back. I took notes on this quote. It got really slow. Like, the first period, he did really well. So I'm trying to think here. So first off, what he was using to fish these isolated grass patches and brush piles is he was primarily using a big long worm and an underspin with what looked like a Kai-Tech kind of swim bait, and just fishing that, the worm, fishing slowly, dragging it, and then the underspin, he was just kind of slowly dragging it through too. It seemed like he was just almost bumping that on the bottom, the underspin along the bottom. He wasn't fishing it fast. But one of the things that I thought was really cool, I'm trying to think when. Yeah, so it's kind of started slowing down in the second period. He did really well the first period, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, it was the first period where he caught four scoreable bass in the first period. But before that, before he caught those fish, it was kind of slow for him. He had to kind of find an area where they were at. And so he was just idling around, and he said, we haven't caught anything, so we might as well just idle around a bit. But he said it like just nonchalant and just really in a positive way, like, oh, it's all right, no big deal, we haven't caught anything, so let's just idle around. No nervousness there, no anxiety. He was just like, things will work out. I've been in the boat with anglers that are just, if that was happening, they're just spun out. And you could probably see it on the live show who those anglers are. It's a completely different style, a style that, in my opinion, it's just, I don't think it's an opinion. I think the facts show for themselves. Those anglers don't do as well. So let's see. One of the things that I thought was really cool. So was this during the second period? It was during the first break. Today was Brian's 2-year-old son's birthday. So he called his wife and wished his son a happy birthday, and you could just tell how much Brian just loves his family and loves his son, and it was super, super sweet to see. And it's cool to see that aspect that maybe you don't get to see very often, and just to kind of have a behind the scenes. They didn't show that on the live show or anything, and it was just, it's cool to see that kind of interaction with an angler's family, and Brian seems to have a good strong family, so it was nice to see that. Let's see here. So one of the things I noticed is, obviously, whenever Brian Thrift is fishing, there's going to be some people around because of his reputation. And you could kind of tell that there were local anglers. And I'm not saying, listen, I mean, here's the reality. I mean, I don't necessarily begrudge anybody that does this, but there were some local anglers around just kind of, following him. And you could tell they're marking waypoints where he was fishing, because he was offshore and he was kind of fishing stuff that I think a lot of people don't fish or haven't fished, because I think they even said this on the live show. One of the things that Brian does is he'll just spend all day with an umbrella to guard from the sun. He'll spend all day just graphing offshore spots and marking waypoints just to fish, and so he's got places marked that I don't think that probably not a lot of anglers know about. So he had some local anglers kind of checking out where he was fishing and then marking waypoints. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So there's two people. So I've filmed with Mike Iaconelli quite often. And Mike has a hook set where even if it's like a 2-pounder, sometimes even less than that, he sets the hook and he's all the way, and I'm in the back of the boat all the time. I'm basically in the back of the boat. I'll zoom in to get closer shots. I'm in the back of the boat because it's, quite frankly, it's dangerous to be any closer to the anglers. I've been hooked before. Look up MLF cameraman gets hooked. That's me, hooked very badly in the arm by a guy named Kevin Van Dam. And so I'm in the back, as far back in the boat as I can get. Mike Iaconelli likes to set the hook and comes all the way back with me a lot of times, and he's hitting the lens. Brian Thrift has nearly as hard of a hook set as Mike Iaconelli. So Iaconelli comes all the way back a lot of times. Brian Thrift will come halfway back to the boat. And so those two anglers have the hardest hook set that I've ever seen. Iaconelli and Thrift, hardest hook set. And if you've watched the live show or just the shows, ever seen Brian Thrift set the hook, you know what I'm talking about. So in this tournament, this was Major League Fishing heavy hitters. This was a championship round. What was interesting about this tournament, so today, first place, Jordan Lee won $100,000. He also won $100,000 for catching the big fish today. So he's walking away from this tournament with $200,000. And that's extraordinary. You talk about a hell of a day. One of the things that I really, really like about this format, and I hope that they adopt, maybe they can't, offer as much money, but I hope they adopt a really big fish prize for the championship day for these tournaments, because what you had happening is you had Jordan Lee ran away with it, which is always a possibility in a bass tournament, right? So the excitement of a television event is kind of, especially a live event, and it's maybe not as dramatic. Well, if you have the possibility of an angler, especially on a body of water that's full of big fish, you have the possibility of an angler being able to catch a big fish on any cast. You have drama all the way up to the very end of the tournament. And so, let me get another. So, I think it makes for better television. It makes for a better live experience. If you have a big fish purse on that championship day, where someone with not a lot of time left could hook into a fish that's like worth $100,000, even if they don't win it. And maybe you can't do $100,000. Maybe you make it $50,000, but still having a big fish purse, prize, can really add to the drama. And I hope that Major League Fishing, I'm going to say it to one of my friends, the producer, Randy White. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to say, I think, and they've probably already thought of it. They probably already, it's probably already, they're already working on it. But I hope that they adopt, a big fish prize at the championship day. It made for, drama all the way to the end. And so that's it. Jordan Lee wins. Congratulations, Jordan Lee. Oh, yeah. What was I going to say? Was there something I was going to talk about? Laid back? Did I already... I think I already took care of that topic. Being laid back. Is there anything else that happened today that I should bring up? No, actually today was the nicest day we had all day. Today flew by, which for whatever reason, the last day for me always flies by. Great week. Great to be back filming for Major League Fishing after all this COVID crap. So really excited to get back on the road filming, and hopefully no more lockdowns and we can get back on with the show. Speaking of show, if you enjoy Angling Uploaded and the shows that we have, another fishing show, everything that we're doing here on Angling Uploaded, support us. How do you support us? Well, the best way right now, and there's going to be different ways in the future, but the best way right now is to like the video. Subscribe. That's the best thing to do. Please subscribe if you enjoy if you enjoy our videos and you haven't subscribed. Please subscribe. And I'm going to do this at our next event, which is like I think like a month away or something. Looking forward to that. And guys, I've enjoyed it. Thanks for spending time with me this week, and I will see you soon.